You've got that look, the one where something happened and you're still carrying it around.
Is it that obvious? I had a conversation today, an actual real one, not a practice conversation, and I just froze. Not because I didn't know the words, I knew the words, but my brain was doing this thing where it was running everything through my first language first and then trying to translate. And by the time I had something to say, the moment was already gone.
That specific feeling. The words are there, but the brain is one step behind. I hear that from a lot of people, and what strikes me every time is that it's not a vocabulary problem at all.
That's exactly what makes it so confusing. My vocabulary is fine, my grammar is fine, but something in the actual thinking process is still happening in the wrong language, and I don't know how to fix that part.
The reason it feels unfixable is because most people approach it like a translation problem. They think the solution is to get faster at translating, but translation is actually the thing that needs to stop.
But how do you stop something that just happens automatically? It's not like I'm choosing to translate. My brain just does it. I don't even notice it's starting. I only notice when I'm already behind.
That's the key word you just used, automatically. Your brain does whatever it has practiced doing most often. Right now, it has practiced translation for years, so translation is what feels natural. What we're really talking about is giving your brain a new habit to practice.
A habit, not a skill.
Exactly, and that difference matters more than it sounds. Skills are things you consciously perform. Habits are things your brain does without asking you first. You want English to become a habit, not something you do when you're ready, something your brain reaches for without thinking.
I've heard people say you should think in English, just think in English. And every time I try, it feels completely fake, like I'm narrating a film in my head and it doesn't actually connect to anything real.
Because narrating a film in your head isn't thinking, it's performing. Real thinking in a language happens when you stop noticing the language at all. You're just thinking. The English is just the material your thoughts are made of.
That's a completely different idea. I hadn't thought about it like that. But then how do you actually get there? What does that even look like in practice?
Start very small and very real, not with big abstract thoughts, with the physical world around you. When you look at your coffee cup, what's the first word that arrives? Not what you translate, what arrives first. The goal is to shrink the distance between seeing something and having an English word appear before any other language does.
So it's almost like training your eyes to speak English before your brain catches up.
That's a genuinely good way to put it. You're building new neural pathways. Every time an English word arrives first, that pathway gets a little stronger. Every time you translate, the old pathway gets used instead.
Can I tell you something that I've been a little embarrassed to say?
Of course.
I dream in my first language every night, and I've started to wonder if that means my brain is just not built for English, like there's some fundamental wiring thing happening that I can't change.
I have to be honest with you, I've never thought about dreams as a learning signal before. That's genuinely interesting to me. But here's what I actually think it means. Your brain uses your strongest emotional language when it's completely unguarded. Dreams are completely unguarded. So right now, your first language is still your emotional home.
My emotional home. That phrase actually makes me a little sad.
It doesn't have to, because a home is somewhere you live, and you can live in more than one place. The goal isn't to abandon your first language, it's to genuinely move into English, not just visit.
Move in, not visit. I think I've been visiting for years.
Most people have, and visiting is exhausting because you're always aware you're a guest, you're on your best behavior, you're watching yourself. When you actually live somewhere, you stop watching yourself and you just live.
So, what makes someone start actually living in a language instead of visiting it?
Emotion, that's the honest answer. Your brain stores language in the same place it stores feeling. The words that stay are the ones that arrived with something attached: a moment, a laugh, a surprise, even a small, awkward silence. The grammar in a textbook has no feeling attached to it, which is why it never quite moves in.
That actually explains something. The English I remember best is from conversations, not from studying. Things people said to me that made me feel something. I remember the feeling and the words come with it.
Your brain has been doing exactly the right thing this whole time. It just needs more of those moments, more English that arrives with feeling attached.
So the freezing today, that was actually just a signal that I haven't had enough of those real moments yet.
It was a signal that the real moments are what you need more of, not more vocabulary lists, not more grammar exercises, more real English with real feeling around it.
I came here thinking I had a technique problem, and now I think I have a completely different understanding of what the problem actually is.
What's the understanding?
That my brain isn't broken, it's just been given the wrong kind of practice. It's been practicing visiting instead of living.
That's it. That's the whole thing. And the moment you understand that, the practice changes completely. You stop looking for shortcuts and you start looking for real moments.
I'm going to go home tonight, and instead of doing a grammar exercise, I'm just going to sit with a cup of tea and try to notice what words arrive first, without translating, without performing.
That's exactly right. And if the wrong language shows up first, that's not failure, that's just information. You just learned which pathway is still stronger, and now you know where to practice.
You know what's strange? I feel less pressure now than when I walked in. I thought you were going to give me a technique to force my brain to do something, but it's more like you've just told me to stop fighting it and start feeding it differently.
Fighting your own brain is exhausting and it never works. Feeding it is patient work, but it actually moves somewhere.
I think I've been at war with my brain for about 3 years.
A lot of learners are, and the moment the war stops, things start to shift, not overnight, but they shift.
I genuinely feel different about this now. Not fixed, but different. Like I understand what I'm actually doing for the first time.
That's the beginning of something real, and it's yours. You made that shift in this conversation. I just asked the right questions.
You did a lot more than that, but I'll let you have the modest version.
I'll take it. Now go home and have that cup of tea.